Good afternoon once again. Like I said, my name is Olajumoke Keturiola, and I have with me co-presenting with me today will be Solomon Jeremiah. A little bit of our housekeeping rule. This session will be recorded and will be made available for future viewing. Please ensure that you mute your mic when you're not talking. Pen down your questions until the Q&A session. And then on social media, you can follow us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can keep up to date with all of the events that we have. Um, Again, our code of conduct, please, we encourage respectful listening. Allow everyone a chance to speak. There is no stupid question, and there is no stupid question. We hope that everyone can avoid assumptions about others, mainly based on their perceived social group. We also want us not to criticize ideas. Criticize ideas, not the individuals. Also, it is important that we commit to learning, not debating, and then listening respectfully and actively. So without wasting much of our time, I'm going to be handing over to Solomon. Solomon, please, you can take up the session now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here again. I am here today to just complete the last part of the MS 900 that we already started 2 weeks ago. So I would just go straight and I will try to be fast as possible so I don't take much of your time because the model is actually not that much. But I will also try as much as possible to explain everything as much as I can. So I would, let me just give me a minute. I need to just correct my screen. I think I changed something. Okay. So, okay, this is fine now. I will be sharing my screen. So this is, okay. So if you can see, I guess you should see my screen now, this slide. Okay, so what I'll be talking about today is the last part for the M365. And we're talking about different stuff. We spoke about compliance, endpoints, securities, that's Defender. We spoke about the features that the M365 have and other productive tools that we could use. So now this is the part where we would need to ask ourselves, how do we license this product? How do we get subscriptions for these products? How do we use them? So when we are talking about that, we would see that we have what we call, there are different ways we can actually go and get license when we want to use the M365, right? For you as a user, you can just create an account, log into the portal, pick a particular license and pay for it. You can pay for the subscription and then start assigning the license to users. So that's one way you can actually get that. We also have what we call the CSP. So if you're hearing CSP, is the full meaning is cloud solution provider, right? We can as well use those people, Microsoft partners, to get our license, and they would help us manage our license while we just assign them to users in our organization. We also have what we call the enterprise agreement. So enterprise agreement is basically, we have companies that they need a lot of license, and that is the about 500 license and more, right? If they need that much license, they can go into an agreement with Microsoft so they can get this license. And this agreement is for 3 years. You have to be paying for 3 years. And once you make a payment for 3 years and you're paying for over 500 license, you can as well use that method to get the license in your organization. So if we now know how to get our license, let's see what we have next here. What we have next is the billing, right? So when we are talking about billing, right, we have billing account options, right? Now we have the Microsoft Online Service Program. This should be the one you have when you're probably going to pay for yourself. So let me just pull up my, as a user, if you get your subscription, you can always just go to, let me pull this here. I'm coming, let me just get my, so if you just want to confirm what you're using, right, you can come to your billing. And when you come to billing, click on billing account, right? So you will see the billing account type. So you can see that this is the, oh, so you'll see that that's the billing account type, not, so yeah, Microsoft Online Subscription Agreement. So you will see the agreement you have there. So if probably you're going for the enterprise or you're going with the CSP, you will just see the account type you have there. And also when we are talking of the bill management, is still here. You can choose to generate your invoice, see your payments, your invoice, payment method, your billing profiles. Like you can do all of your billing stuffs here in this particular portal under billing. That's in your Microsoft Admin Center. So for billing management, that's exactly what this particular part is explaining to us. So if we go next, this other part is the subscriptions that we can get, right? Now we know how we can probably get our subscriptions, right? How can we, what subscriptions plan can we get if we want to get these subscriptions? Now, I would show you this, I'll break down this subscription real quick from Microsoft website. But what I always tell people, if you probably have any questions like interviews, most times they'll ask you, tell me about Microsoft subscription. Before you start going further, right? The first thing, in fact, before you start getting confused with the subscriptions, because most times I have people that they already know more about M365, but if you ask them about subscription, it's just a problem. So, but if you want to start, the best advice I would advise you is, if you look at this screen now, if anybody asks you, tell me about Microsoft subscription, or maybe they're coming with license, anyhow they put it, this is what you should just think of first. You should tell them we have M365 for home, we have M365 for education, we have M365 for government, we have M365 for business, M365 for frontline workers, M365 for enterprise. That's the first thing you should just present to them. So once you understand this, then you can now start going further into telling them, okay, for this particular one, I know this is what it does. Now I would pull up the website for subscription. Let me just see if I can search subscription. Let me just give me a minute. I'm actually just trying to pull up. Yeah, so this is this website now. So if you just Google Microsoft's license, right, you'll probably just land you at this place. So if you look at this, right, we
You
spoke
can,
about
sorry, Solomon, can I help us paste the link, the URL into the chat window for them?
okay,
All right.
okay, let me do that.
Thank you.
So once you come here, right, you see I told you we have, this page is actually showing me for two, but I'll still go to the others, right? You can see I told you we have home, education, government, for business, frontline, enterprise. I'm just trying to compare. Now you can see this is business, this is home. We can see those two here. Now if you look at this, let's go to home. So if we look at home, right, you would see something about home. The fact that you're going for home subscription, you should note that there are still options under home, and those two options you can get is either for family or personal. So if you're going for the subscription for home, you have to think about other you have to consider other stuffs. And one of those stuffs you should consider is what are the number of people that will be using this subscription. So if you're using, if the subscription is going to be used by by 2 to 6 people, if 2 to 6 people will be using the subscription, then you can go for the family, right? And if you go for the family, you can see the features that comes with it on this website, right? And you can see the price. You have like discount. You can see 2 to 6 people, and you're getting a discount price compared to when you're going for personal. So for personal, this is the amount you'll be getting monthly. But what you should also know, if you're paying yearly, you also get a kind of discount also. So this is per year, and this is per year if you're paying for family or you're paying for personal. Now remember, this family and personal, they are under the home. You know, if they ask you, you tell them we have for home, right? And then you will say we have for business, we have for enterprise, we have for government. So you just need to know all of that first before you start thinking of what the subscriptions they have under them that you can select from. So if you look at for business, right, we have Microsoft M365 Business Basic, we have apps for business, we have business standard, and we have business premium. So if you look at this license, you'll see each of the features that all of this particular license have. You can see that this one is probably having all the features of this one, including extra stuff. This one will probably be having, so you just need to read them and know what you need in the organization. So if you're probably having a conversation with somebody in an organization, they say, oh, we need license, right? You need to have like a broader view of what they need so that you know exactly what is going to fit them. So now I just said for business and then for enterprise, right? The main difference that you would always get when they probably ask you questions is, why do you need to use enterprise? Why do you need to use business? So if you have over 300 users in an organization and you want to assign license, the license that would support those users is the enterprise subscription. So you should be going for the enterprise subscription. So for the enterprise subscription, I will just bring up that enterprise subscription for you. I would also drop the link. So this is for enterprise subscription. So now I will still just try to explain something when I'm talking about enterprise subscription. So I will drop the link also in the chat. So now, oh, sorry, I would have to end the show. So this is the enterprise, right? So for enterprise, right, you will probably be hearing people saying E3, E5, and we can see we have the F3. So this F3, just know, is for the frontline workers that I spoke about. But once you're hearing enterprise, you'll be hearing the E3, E5, right? And if you look at them now, you'll see the features they have. Now there's something people get confused about. Remember, this license they wrote is for enterprise, and you can see what is written here, Microsoft 365, E for E3, E5. Now I want to look for another link. I would bring this for you. Now look at this. Try to look at the price. You can see E3 is £34 here from my location, 54, and this is for the E. Let's just leave the F3, right? I'm just focusing on this E3. Now this Microsoft 365, right? You know, I was talking about the enterprise license. Now you can see, okay, I think this should be what I'm looking for. So let me open this. Now you can see we still have Office 365 Enterprise. Now people get confused, especially even in an organization. They'll say, we want E5. Which of the E5 license do you want? Is it the Microsoft 365 E5 license, or you just want the Office 365 E5 license? Now, one of the difference between these two licenses that I just showed you is that the Microsoft 365 Enterprise includes access to Windows 10 and enterprise mobility plus security, and it has everything the Office 365 has. So that's the main difference. So you're just going to be getting, if you're using the Microsoft Enterprise, right? The Microsoft 365 Enterprise, you'll be getting the Windows 10 and Enterprise Mobility Plus Security. So you can as well just go through the features. You'll see what they have when you're going. You'll see that this one has this, and you can see when we are talking of the Office 365, you can see for Enterprise, and you can see it's showing us Microsoft 365 for Enterprise. So this is Office 365 for Enterprise, but you're grading this under that Enterprise I'm talking about. So I said Enterprise and all of that. So you can see this has E1, E3, E5, and if you look at the price, you see it's actually different. This is actually more expensive. So that's in case you want to use any of this license, you should know which you're using. So if I come to education, why I'm actually doing this, right? Let me just go to government, is so that you just get an overview. This is always something that most people get confused about. So for education, this is education, but I'm looking for so for education, you know that we have enterprise and enterprise, E for enterprise, and then we're having E, right? You can probably remember that. But for education, please, it is A1, A2, and A3. Sorry, A3 and A5. So once you hear somebody talking about A3 license, A5, don't say, oh, when I was doing training, the only license they told me, or the subscription plans I know, was home, education. The A3 you're talking about, I don't understand. So the A3, A1, A5, they are under the education, basically for students, people that not like how will I put it, for schools, right? And that want to assign license to their students and all of that. This is the license they would use. And if you go further, probably while you're learning, you will see that there are some other features, like maybe Teams phone standard license that you can get, but you can also find them inside this A5 and the E5. I think there should be standalone and traditional this thing in this stuff. So I will probably explain that also. So we have other stuffs, right, that you can use. Okay, yeah, A for academics, exactly. So I just got a chat from MJ. Yes, that actually makes, I think this is what I'll be using now. So yeah, so for academics, right, you can see A. So for government, we have the government plan. This plan, you can't really use it. This is just for government. So we have their own plan, right? Then we have the front line that I showed you, which is the F3 that we saw there. We have the business and then the education. So I will just stop there for the subscription plan. Let me just try to hit my slide again. Okay, so first thing, once they ask you anything about subscription in Micro M365, just this is what you should just first of all present to them. With this, you can now start going down. So if I go to the next, right? Okay, good, right? What I was trying to talk about is the standalone, and lucky for me, it is here. So if we're talking about the standalone, right? Before we talk about the standalone, we have the available subscription license. So this term here that we are looking at, that's the USL, then small s. It just simply means user subscription license. That's the meaning, right? And when we are talking about this, we have them in full USL, we have the add-on, we have the from, and then we have the step up. So basically, if you see stuffs like this, what they're just trying to explain to us is just the different programs that are available. For the full USL, right? This is just a program for people that are new customers, right? New users that are coming to purchase a solution from Microsoft. And for on-prem also, it's not just Microsoft, right? They don't have any software assurance. They are just coming for the first time. They are new and they are coming to pay for a subscription or a solution. So these are via the category they fall under. So we have the other one, and the other one is the add-on, right? So for add-ons, right, these people, right, they are on-prem customers, right? And how will I put it now?
So let me assist there,
So
Solomon.
okay.
So for
I'm just trying to
add-on,
look
you
for
can,
the okay.
yeah, yeah. So for add-on, you can probably, maybe you bought a license, an Office 365 license, and then you feel that there is a component you buy. So that component may belong to another plan, or it can be a standalone. So it can be like, let's say you have just Defender for Identity alone, what you need. I'm just giving as an example, Microsoft Defender for Identity. Whereas Microsoft Defender for Identity can also be included in some plan, but can be a standalone. So you can buy it as an add-on license to your full license. So instead of you changing the plan, you can buy an add-on license to add to your existing license, just if that feature is presented in that standalone.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, so another way we can also present it, they are in terms of this, right? They are still customers, right? That they have their on-prem environment and they're coming to get M365 subscription, and they are not ready to totally move fully into the cloud. So that's another way we can also see this add-on USL. So for the SA USL, right? These people, they are ready to migrate fully to the cloud when we are talking in terms of coming to get a solution. So they have their on-premises environment and they are ready to go fully to the cloud. Then the step up is you currently have a service with Microsoft, and then you're just trying to upgrade the agreements that you previously have with Microsoft. So that's the setup USL. So for that add-on, thank you. So sometimes this thing is always a bit like how to arrange your words to explain them better. But I would search for a link. There should be a link that explains this very well. Before the end of this training, I will search for a link and just drop it, and you would get the full details about the USL and all of that. So if we're talking about the add-ons, right? We have traditional add-ons and we have standalone add-ons. So we have subscriptions, right? And if you look at those subscriptions, you will see that we had features that were ticked under each of them, right? Some of those features are like add-ons, right? You're getting a particular license and it is coming with a particular feature. If you terminate that license, that particular feature is also terminated, right? You're not getting it, right? So those are the traditional add-ons. But for the standalone add-ons, what it just simply means, you can actually go and buy a particular feature that you want. Probably you just want to get the Exchange Plan 1 license, right? If you have E5, right, you probably have Exchange Plan 2 that comes with your E5. And if your E5 license expires, it is gone. What if I just want to buy the Plan 2 license on its own? So you can actually go purchase that Plan 2 license on its own, and it is not dependent on any other license, right? It is not one of the features that is being added to a license. And if you want to subscribe for it, you're subscribing for it independently. And if you're done with it, you can always just end it. So the lifetime of this particular add-ons is not dependent on other on another subscription. So that's for the licensing and management. So the next part I will just go to now is the support. So when we are talking of M365, yes, there are different ways you can get support. Remember, this is a SaaS application and they are always updating, patching it. Different stuffs are happening and you're still probably learning. Even people that are experts, there are updates coming out that they need to still understand how they can use it very well. So if you probably have issues with the updates, or you're trying to do something, you can't achieve it, you just have one issue or the other, right? Or you want to inquire about something, we have different ways you can get support. We have community-based support, right? Microsoft has a lot of support. They have a lot of support where you can always go get support from. We have proactive support. We have web chat, email. We have web chat, email, and phone support. We have pre-sale support. So this support, right, that I'm talking of, you can as well go to your M365 portal. So if you come here, you can see we still have the support I'm talking about here. Okay, this is it. So you can see we can come here, view support. You can go for help. yours, you might see create a new ticket, right? In yours, right? You might see yours a bit different from mine. So, but you can actually raise a support ticket from your admin portal also. We have pre-sales support. We have fast track support where you can probably go to get support from Microsoft experts. We have premier support for M365, is a paid support and they respond to you like real quick. We also have support through a Microsoft partner. So just like I was talking about the CSP, you can always go there, get the support you need from the Microsoft partner. They will assist you with any of the supports that you need. So that's for the support. And the next thing we have here is the SLA. So SLA just simply means service level agreement. So if we're talking of service level agreement, it's just you having an agreement with Microsoft of how much uptime that your service should be running. So if you look at the service agreement, we have different concepts, right? We have incidents. Incidents is just basically what is happening when you have a downtime, right? We have the uptime when your applications, your resources, they're available and running. That's also maybe you have an agreement with Microsoft. They should always be available for 99.9%. And you can even have them available for 100%, right? So we also have downtime. You're not able to access your resources, read or write information, right? You're having issues at that moment. We also have claims. So what claim does is if you have an incident during a downtime and it actually affects your organization in terms of productivity, affects something that was supposed to happen, you can actually raise a claim with Microsoft. And when you raise a claim with Microsoft, there's service credits. They've stated the service credits depending on the downtime you have, the service level agreement, their percentage that they use for it. I'll also drop a link for it so you can probably download the document. Microsoft has a document for that. So you will see the agreement and even the incident and downtime, the descriptions and everything should be in that document. So we have the service credits that you can get. The service level is also in that document. That's the time you should be getting your stuffs running. And then the uptime agreement also, you will also see it. There's an agreement Microsoft will actually show you the calculation that they use to get it. I think the calculation is user minutes minus the downtime over user minute times 100. So once you go through that document, you will see the calculation and you will see the percentage that you should be if you're calculating your credits, right? Your uptime, if you have anything less than a particular uptime, you will see the percentage of credits they'll give you. And it starts from 25%, 50% to 100%. So this is just basically an agreement between you and Microsoft that, okay, I'm going to keep all your services running. And if maybe there's an issue with this service, you can always come to me and tell me what's actually happened. And if we look at your claim to be correct, we'll be paying you this certain amount based on the downtime and incident you had. So that's exactly what the SLA is talking about. So I would move to the next. So let me see. So this is how to track the service health status, right? So when we're talking about the service health status, right, you can actually see what is happening. You can check the health of the resources in your tenant. So for us to just do that, let me see. Let me pull this. So for service health, right, when I come here, I can come to service health dashboard. And if you look at the service health dashboard, you can see services that are healthy. And I can see adversaries, right? You'll tell me, oh, this is supposed to be happening. Admins may, you can see I'm getting updates of what might be happening, right? I can see it. And I can as well see issues that is happening. I can get reports. I can also report issues, right? So reported issues. I can also see reported issues, right? Track everything that is happening. So most times why I'm actually showing you this is if probably you're working in a company and you see like 5 people sending tickets, or probably let me just say, maybe you're doing support job for cloud app like M365, and you're actually supporting different organizations, and like 5 of them are sending you this similar tickets, and you know they are not on the same tenant. Once you see those tickets coming almost the same time frame, before you start troubleshooting, I always advise people, because me, this has actually helped me many times. I remember the time Teams was actually changing people's status from available to away, and it will also change. So it was just changing it, and it was affecting me, but me, I felt it was my network. I was just changing it. I said, what was happening? But because it was affecting me, I did not think about coming to look at this place. I was just calm. But when different organizations, they sent me tickets, right? Now they were not telling me that their status was changing to away. They were just telling me that calls are not coming to their agents. And I was thinking, why will call not be coming to this guy's agent and this guy's agent and this guy's agent? I know that the only way calls would not come to some agents when you probably start doing Teams, right? With auto attendance, you know, is when they turn on presence-based routing. What that does is, if you're trying to call someone and the person is not available, the call would not get to the person. So at that point, when I was thinking about that, I say something must have been wrong. I went to check the auto attendance. I saw that it was actually turned on. And when I got here, I just saw that, yeah, this there was an incident report, and Microsoft actually stated it there. So when I just read this, I didn't have to I was just waiting for those tickets. So I'll just direct them, go and read this, go and read this. Because at that moment, there's nothing I can actually do until it is resolved. And the only way I can get that is coming here to check the active issues that is actually happening and seeing if it is connected to the tickets that I am actually getting. So that's actually what this service health does for us. You can see the dashboard, message centers, and all of that. So you can actually see that from your admin center. So the next thing I would be talking about is feedback. So how do we give feedback, right? So we can as well give feedback to Microsoft, right? If we're trying to probably get a feature, or we just want to give a feedback about the product itself, like there are many ways we can do it. We can go to feedback, we can go to in-product experience. I'll show you one. There's a product feedback also in that health in M365 Admin Center. We have Windows Feedback Hub. We have Microsoft Tech Communities, like one of the biggest community in Microsoft. You can always see different stuffs happening there. We have Microsoft Store, and then we have User Voice Forum. This User Voice Forum is long. I used it, but I've not confirmed about it if it's still active, but I know there's always a user voice forum where you can also drop feedback. And if you look at this, there's always a product feedback here where you can as well check feedbacks that have been dropped, and also you can see the product feedback here. And I think there's even somewhere here where you can give feedback also. So you can as well still drop a feedback here if you feel like dropping a feedback about the product. So that's for the feedbacks. Then the next thing I would be jumping to now is this. So now when we are talking about release, right? Remember all these whole features that we're talking about to say, oh, Teams call, you can now do this, you can use Avatar for Teams, meetings, and all of that. So before they release any product, not just M365, right? I don't know if maybe you did for Windows, right? So Microsoft, before they release their products, they always have different stages it will go through before it gets to the public. And when we're also talking about products, we're also talking about the life cycle of a product. When the time the product is being released, and when there's no more support for that product, like end of support for that product. So when we are looking at this, we have private preview. So this private phase basically is just some few people that are probably going to be checking, testing giving feedback at that stage, you would just you won't probably see this happening like in the public previews, just some certain group of people that would be testing this product, just like the avatar I made mention of. People that are MVPs, you'll see them also previewing all the new features that are being released. So once that stage is gone, the next stage it will pass to is the public preview. So we have people that are always opting in to say, okay, I want to do this public preview. You can actually do that for your Windows, you can do it for your M365, even in Teams. There's a policy that once you turn it on in your tenant, you can actually do the public preview. You can see what is about to come out. And at that stage, you can also drop feedbacks, right? Some of the public previews, you might not really get support for it. I know in Azure, there are some that you do just put preview, right? They will advise you should not use this in production because it's still in the preview stage. People are checking, testing, and giving feedbacks. Then once it passes this particular stage, you can see it is available for general release, right? Before it is available for their general release, right? And then they can receive feedback from a broad range of users. So that's what is actually happening. You know, this particular one is still limited. They don't have a lot of people there, but public, we have a lot of people now. Then this is general availability. After the public preview is completed, Microsoft releases the product or service. So by this time, you can use it, I can use it. If we are not if we are not among those that are in the preview states that are trying to see what is happening, we can now start using it for in production environments because it has gone through the private and the public preview. So now when we are using this particular product, eventually, right, from this document, right, you'll see eventually older products or retired service can no longer be supported. And this product and services will reach the end of support. So at this point, Microsoft will tell you, we are no more supporting these products. They'll give you notifications. They don't just wake up and say, we are no longer supporting it. They'll give you notifications and tell you, we are no longer supporting this particular service. And then at that point, the support end for support for that particular product is we get to the point where there's no longer support for that product. So that's what this particular slide is describing. So if we go to the next slide, right, we have the modern life cycle policy for Microsoft 365, right? Is a policy that is being outlined for end support date for various M365 products and services. So now this is a general policy where they are already telling you that, okay, this particular product, right? The agreement is we will tell you the end of support for this particular product, and then we will provide you a minimum of 12 months notice period. So that's exactly what this is actually doing. And we also have the fixed part of it. For the fixed part of it is when a product is being released, they are already telling you when the end of life of that particular product would be. So that's if we're talking about the modern life cycle policy, we have what we call the fixed. That fixed, Microsoft is already telling you when the end of support for that particular product will be. And I think it should be 5 years, right? That's the minimum of 5 years for that product. And after 5 years, you will no longer be getting support from that product. And when we are talking of end of support, it just simply means you can probably still use the product, right? But Microsoft is not responsible to tell you, say, oh, something has broken or there was a security breach. Microsoft is not going to be responsible at that moment because at that moment, they are not going to be updating it. They are not releasing patches and bugs, all the stuff. So you're not going to be getting all of that. But then you can still use it. So to me, it's more like at your own risk. That's what I always see the end of support. If I want to tell people you can use it, but don't don't get Microsoft involved if anything is happening. So this modern life cycle policy is more like is just an outline that tells you about the various M365 products and services, right? When they will be getting the end of support. Yeah. So after that, now what I would go to is this. So what is the roadmap, right? This roadmap is just basically a website, right? Is Microsoft's website. Once you go there, you would get information about upcoming features, their updates. You just get those that are in the deployment process, those that will be rolling out, when they'll be launched. Like, you just get a lot of information about what is happening in this particular website. It is Microsoft's website. It's a portal. You just go there, search for the product you want, either by the ID or you just use the features. Once you search for it, you can now check when it will be launched, when will they roll it out, or is this in deployment. You can as well just go and click deployment and check for it. So you can check for M365, you can check for Dynamics, you can check for Azure. So this also is something that you can as well look. Okay, I just saw a website. Oh, thank you. That's the website where you can use to check for that. So for that, I think that should be the end of this module for now. So I will just look for the USL. Okay, service agreement. Let me just okay, just real quick, and yeah, this should be it. Let me check for USL very quick. Okay, yeah. So now you can use this USL. So this USL, I think, is actually good, because I think if I'd even searched for this, it would have been best for me to just move to each of these license that I was talking about, right? So this is the website for it. So that website will explain the USL very well for you, right? So that was what I was trying to crack my brain on, because I know one of them is you have to be you have to be going fully to the cloud, right? While the other one is you're just trying to use the product. So you can just go through that. So I think that's all for me, and I would just end my show here. And thank you so much for your time. I would be passing the next conversation to MJ. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, I
Thank
just
you.
needed
Thank
to
you.
complete this. I know I was owing this part in the last training, so I just said I just need to pay off my debt. Yeah, so
Thank you so much, Solomon. It's always a joy to have you here. And then, it's always a pleasure. We are always gaining one thing or the other. Thank you so much. I'm willing to contribute to the community is actually very commendable. Thank you so very much.
yeah.
And then, why are you guys not reacting? I would have wanted to see some form of reactions, love, or applause for Solomon for this great session. Or probably maybe they don't know where to do that from. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Solomon. So, moving on, I'm just going to be going real fast now to the other things. Like I said, what Solomon has just taught us right now just ends the whole, what they call it, the whole, MX 900 track. We finished the MX 900 track. But like I promised, I said that it's just we want to get our hands dirty. So we have now a bit of the theoretical, how will I say a bit? I'll say we have a full theoretical knowledge of what Microsoft 365 products are, how we can set up our environment. We've done that the very first day we started. We've seen how we can the different products and technology services and applications under it, and then we move on to also looking at Microsoft Defender, product compliance, POVI. We took a look at that last week, and now we're concluding with how you can re-support the different M365 plans, the licensing model, and the things you can do, how you can sign up for preview and all of that. So we've done that, but I also want us to get our hands ready. And then with a raise of hand, I'm going to ask, I know that I may not be able to get the whole information I want right now because a lot of us are not on the call, and that is due to a fault from me because of the time starting the session. Like I said, a lot of us are familiar with the 10 a.m. session, so probably maybe they're getting this notice late, and then they might have other things planned. But however, the recording will be available. So I'm going to be moving straight off. I'm going to be sharing my screen right now to move straight on to um, the M365 portal. So um, for some of us that have already signed up, if you have not signed up for your developer's account, you can revisit the recordings of our previous sessions. And then if you are also on the Teams channel, you will see instructions, step-by-step instructions on how to set up your M365 developer account. So I have set up mine, and this is what it looks like. Before now, I have shown us how we're going to log into it. If you need to log into yours, if you have signed up before, all you need to just do is go to portal.office.com. And once you go into portal.office.com, because I'm already signed on, so it's not going to request me now for a username or password, but it will definitely require you to put in your username and password. And then once you log in, this is what you're going to see. Now, to carry out activities on the M365 portal, we all know that we need to go into what's the admin. Remember that if you can still revisit the recordings for day one and day two, the admin center, we walk through the admin center, the things for us to do. Definitely your M365, you're creating your M365 environment for one particular reason, and that is for to do what to have users on it. Now we have created this, we have signed up for our M365. How do we create users? So if you go into admin, admin is going to open up something that looks like this for you. So you can see I'm my Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Now, if I look at Microsoft 365 Admin Center, this is exactly what um, Solomon was showing you. You have the home, which is just going to give you an overview of probably maybe an information that you should just see immediately you log in. You even have the ability for you to add additional cards in case probably maybe you want to add more view than this. This is telling me active user reports. Maybe I want to add additional cards. All I need to do is just select additional cards and I can decide what kind of card I want. Maybe I want a message center to appear for me on my home page immediately I log in. I can select the message center and then add it. So I will see the message center here. I can decide to select role-based access or office update. Maybe I want to be seeing that also. And I've added all of that. So you can scroll down and then you can see things like a message center. You can see it here. You can see apps updates. So those are kind of things you can do, if you come into the home. And I'm just brushing up on this because I know in the past I have spoken about it, but peradventure some of us have forgotten on it. I'm just touching on it. But what is more importantly is that where do we create activities? Why do we sign up for M365? The reason why we sign up is because we want to be able to manage our users. We want to be able to give our users the ability for them to be able to collaborate and communicate in our environment using the available tools like what? Our Exchange Online, which is actually going to be responsible for email communication, our Microsoft Teams, which is also going to be responsible for us to do what? To do collaboration and communication. SharePoint also will allow you to do collaboration. Your OneDrive for Business, which is also going to improve the productivity of your users. So you have all of that. That's the reason. But then how do we set up our users? Now, when we were setting up, I said one of the things we can do is that we can create our developers accounts to have users pre-populated, or we do not have it pre-populated. So, but I'm going to show us yes, I have some users already. Yes, some of them pre-populated, and some of them I'm going to create them manually. So the first way for you to add users, there are various ways for you to add users. You can either come to once you come into the active user page, you can have the opportunity for you to add a user, which is ordinarily just saying that we're creating the users for the first time and we want to add it. Again, before I go into this place, I'm just going to digress a little bit. Remember what we talk about our admin center, that when you come to the Microsoft 365 admin center, there are other sub admin center that are specific to services. So you can see admin center for Exchange. So if you have people that have mailboxes, or you've created them for email, this is where you can manage email services like this Exchange Admin Center. Then you have what? The Azure Active Directory. Now we remember that we had a session also on the Azure Active Directory, which is also one of the components that is renamed to, the parent name now is Microsoft Entra. But remember what we said, that the Active Directory environment is actually what is referred to as what? Your identity provider. For every services you use on the internet, whether it is Gmail you are using, whether it is Yahoo, there is something that is actually doing at the back end, trying to verify your identity. The same way you go into your bank or your ATM, you are putting in your information, you are putting in your name, or you are putting in your username, you're putting in your password or your PIN. At the back of that process you're doing, there's something that is doing what? That is verifying your identity. So for all Microsoft services, be it Microsoft 365, be it Dynamics 365, be it Power BI, be it any apps or services you want to consume in the Microsoft space, even be it on Azure, which is the cloud platform where a lot of all of these things are hosted, and you want to consume. What is doing that verification for your identity is actually what? Your Azure Active Directory. So if I come into this place, you can actually see all the same users in Azure Active Directory. You can see that the same set of users that I have here is actually what I have. I'm moving back to M365, the port and the admin center. There's the same set of users. Because before you have this user created in the M365 admin center, the truth about it is that they're actually provisioned on what? On the Azure Active Directory. Because that is where it is like the word directory. If you remember the word directory, if you have a phone directory will take care of the person's name, we take care of the first name, the last name of the person, the phone number, maybe the address, and all of that. So when you talk about Active Directory, it's more of a database. Let me use that word so that it can be simpler for you, or a directory form that contains everything that has to be of the information of the people or devices, or even any form of computer that is being used in the M365 or in the Azure space. So like I said now, you have all of those users provisioned here before eventually you now do what? They come into your M365 for you to be able to see them in the admin center. So I have the option. There are two ways I can actually create users. The only cool thing is that because of the integration, and M365 as a cloud services is actually relying on Azure Active Directory to keep the inventory, or to keep the directory of the users that you create. So I can decide to say I want to create a user here, or I come here and create it, and it automatically creates it also what? In the Azure Active Directory. So to make life very easy, let me see if I can increase this so that this can be it can be brighter. Okay, so to make life very easy, Microsoft make it in such a way that, oh, why do you need to go and create users in Azure Active Directory first? In Azure Active Directory AD first, then before you now come to this place, and then you now come before you appear. So why don't you just go ahead, add the users, and then it will appear on this same database, so to say, and then you can do the other tasks. So to do what? To create a user for M365. Once you come under user, you have the option to say add a new user. So if I say I want to add a new user, so let's look for the users I want to add. Let me say in this scenario right now, I want to pick any of, a user. Let's say my user now is Titilayo Adams. And then the display name will appear automatically, so I can decide. Now, when it comes to username is always an organizational policy or decision. It can be that your organization, maybe they say that everybody must bear their first name as their username. So their username is actually what is referred to as what? Your login name, the name which you will use in what? Logging in into the environment. So I can decide that it is what? First name. I can decide to be what? First name dot last name. I can decide to be first name and the first two letters of my last name. So whatever is convenient for you in your environment. That is why before you start creating users on M365, it's actually very important for you to have what is referred to as what? Your organizational policy document, where you can document how user profiling needs to be done. How do I want the users in my environment to appear? How do I want guest user or consultant that are not part of my environment? How do I want them to be created? So as you start your journey as an M365 administrator, this is part of the things that you will present to your organization or advise your organization on how to do. So for us, maybe because of our lab, I'll just decide that maybe the name should just be what? Titilayo. Sorry. Titilayo. I can say, or let me just say dash AD. I want it to be Titilayo first name and then the first two letter. Now, when I do that, I have the option to say what? Automatically create the password. And then I can say I require that this user change their password when they first log in. So you can do that, or you can decide that it creates. If I uncheck this, it will give me the option for me to what? Input the password myself. And then I can still check this, that even if I create a password for this user where they can log in first, but it can require them to change their password. So this is your option. So I'll just leave it as automatically create a password, since I also want the user to change their password when they logs in. So I can click next. Now the next stage is going to bring me to is that it's going to ask me for me to select location. Now at the point of when I was setting up, I selected that my location is Nigeria, which is very important, that because location also will determine where your tenants will. But I can decide that I have people places, separate places, so I can decide to select a different location for them here. Then the license here right now, I can assign license fee. So for this, my tenant, these are the license information, the products I have. Remember before when Solomon was trying to show us, he shows us the different kinds of license that you can have. So for me, I have this license, which is Dynamics 365 P1 Trial. I have Microsoft 365 E5 Developer. This is the one we use in signing up. I have Power Automate, I have Power Pages and all of that. And I can decide to create the user without product license. Do you see? So I can just create the user alone. So if I create this user alone, it's as good as me going to just create a user in my Azure Active Directory, because I'm not putting license for it. So you see what I said, that Microsoft just simplified the whole process for you. You can decide to create the user in Azure Active Directory and now come back to the M365 to come and assign license. Or I can do everything from the M365 admin center. So I can decide to create this user, but what we want to do is that I want to assign a license to the user. So let me see. I assigned this license, the M365 license. But by the time I assign the license, before I assign the license, you can see that my apps is showing 0. Now, when I say assigned M365 license, you can see that it shows all of the applications that are embedded in the M365 E5 plan. So I can collapse it and say that, oh, I want to give all of the user this license, or I want to be more specific that you don't need all of this license. I can deselect all of this license and say for this user, the only thing I want you to have is just, I want you just to have um where is Exchange Online? I'm looking for Microsoft Exchange Online. Let me see, because it's not plenty. Let me search for it. So let me say I'm looking for oh sugar. Okay. I won't be able to do it that way. So I'm looking for Exchange Online. I can only just be, I think I just need to be
You passed
to
it.
be, yes, I
You
know.
passed it. Okay.
So okay, let me just select, I select Teams. Excel, Microsoft Exchange Online supposed to be somewhere here. Okay. Okay. So Exchange Online Plan 2. This is for communication, for email. So I can just decide to say, oh, for this user, it is just this. I want them to be able to send emails, and I want him to be able to use Microsoft Teams. Okay, Microsoft Forms. Okay, he can also use the Microsoft Office apps. Let's say Office apps. Let me look at. Okay, I want him to be able to use SharePoint. Fine. I want him to be able to use maybe things like let me just look at if, let me say additional one will just be, I want to be able to manage this person's device, so I want him to use Intune, and I can click next. Now the next thing is that, do I want to give this user any form of role or administrative access? Probably I want this person to be like an help desk in my environment, or I want this person to be able to be a billing user. So if Microsoft says my license is expired, you will be the one to get notified. So if I say I want to give the person a role access, an admin access, I can make the person, maybe I want him to be able to be the one to manage the Exchange environment, so he will be the Exchange administrator. The global administrator is the overall. We'll maybe before we finish, hopefully we'll come to talking about roles. I think we talked about it last week, but probably we'll go more granular into it. Then maybe I just want this person to be help desk. So help desk, if you do not know what a role is, the cool thing about Microsoft is that you see this circle that has this exclamation or I mark inside. Once you mouse around it, you can actually see what that particular role is for. So help desk means that this person will be able to reset password and re-authenticate for all non-admins. So ordinary users like himself, he will be able to do what? Reset their password. He will be able to re-authenticate for them, and then um be able to also do what? Um, be able to also do what? Manage service requests and monitor service health, just like what Solomon showed us. So I'm going to select that this person should be help desk. I want him to be able to reset password for every other person. And then with that, I can show other categories. You see, if I want him to be more than that, you can see, you can show by categories. Maybe you just want him to be able to do more in terms of probably Dynamics 365 or identity governance administrator. It's going more granular and all of that. So, but this is okay for me. I don't want us to get into that. I want to keep it as simple for you. Then the profile information, you can decide under profile information that this particular person, probably maybe I want to make him what? An executive, an executive sales manager. Hmm? The department, let me say, belongs to sales and marketing. I can decide that where is his office. Maybe his office is number 6, Banana Island. Um, okay, let me say his office. Sorry, let me say I won't do that. Let me say his office is let me just say first floor. Maybe I think first floor is two. Let me just say on the 10th floor, that's where the office is. The office phone number, I can put anything. You can put his phone number. His fast number may not be. His mobile number may be +23412345678 9. Okay, the street number, that's where I'm putting my 6 Banana Island Way. City, I can call it Ikoyi. And then state can be Lagos. Zip code, if you have it. Country of location can be Nigeria. These are just information you want to put for this particular person. Nigeria I want. Okay. And then that's about all. So zip for postal code, I can put 1020, whatever. Then I click next, and then what? You can see the password. I can say that this password is auto-generated, and then it sends the password. I can also do it in such a way that if I know the person's maybe alternative, or maybe, his personal email, and I want him to receive the password there, or I even know his head of department or his manager, I can add their email address here. I can even put, even if the email is a third-party email, but I want him to be, maybe I'm creating him for the first time, but he has not come into the environment. I can send in the password, maybe on Yahoo and all of that, or even on Gmail. Depends on what works for you in your environment. So with all of this, I can just click next, and then next with what I've done so far, and then next, and then finish. So this means I have finished creating my user. So I want us to go, I'll come back. I want to leave this thing here, so I'll come back here. So let's look at the user that I've created. And the user here is what we call it Titilayo, right? Let's see if we can see Titilayo. You can see that Titilayo Adams is created, and it has assigned in the it has assigned in the license. But let's look at the details of the license. The details of the license. So we'll come to license apps and so and see whether the license, even though the license is M365, we can see what are the applications that is assigned to him. You can see it's more granular. And if I decide to say, oh, he passed everything, let me give him everything at once because of his workload. Maybe as time goes on, I want to increase the number of licenses. I can come here and still add more, or I can select everything for him and then do what? Still save, which means now is going to be using every component that has to do with the M365 E5 plan. You see that? So that is the first way to create a user. Now, the other way to create a user, let's go back to the user again. The other way for you to create a user is to what? Use templates. Now, you use templates probably maybe because you want to group that user into a specific kind of, let's say you can use template to define that the user you're creating belongs to a geographical location, or you have like a set of license you want to give to them, or probably maybe they belong to a specific tenant, or a specific department. So I'm coming back to Titilayo's account I've created. You can see when I created the account, it told me quite all right that Titilayo has been added to an active user, but I can set this user setting as a template. So if I want to create any other user, and then I have put the kind of license I want to put, instead of it asking me that start picking license, the only thing I just need to just add will just be the people, the name and the username. So let's see me saving this template I use in AddedTT. Saving these settings I use in AddedTT as a template. So I'm going to call my template and say template for let me say user template for sales and marketing. So anybody that I want to add and it belongs to sales and marketing, this is a template. I can give it a description and say that templates is for sales and marketing users. So, and then I have the option to say, I am a global admin, but do I want to make this template available for other global admins to manage user, or it is only me? So I can make it available. So I say make it available, and then I save the template. Now see, it's telling me that user template it has saved. So let's go to, I've created a user, add the user. That's the first step. Now I want to use templates. Now, if I click on use template, you can see that I have templates that I've created before now. So you can see templates with users with no license. If I don't want to give them license, I will just use this template. The only thing it will be so fast for me. This is template for FCT user. Probably maybe I have users in FCTs that I feel that, okay, this is the kind of license, this is the location, this, like I said, geographical location, I can select this. Now, let's use the new template that we've created. So I said, use template for sales and marketing, and let's now see what it's going to do for us. So the next user in sales and marketing I want to create, let's say I want to create a user. The first name is, who do I have on the call? Let me just use that person. Let me use any of you on the call as an example. Okay, so let's say I'm creating Yemi, and then I'm saying the last name is Lola. And then, so this is the display name and the username. Remember what our username will say, hello. So you can see that that is all that he has. It has already picked everything. There is nothing else for me to put. And then all I just need is just to click on any of the, sorry, it's just for me to click on any of these places, and then I will just say what, add my user. You can see that I have nothing like problem. I want to put in the password. I want to put any of the things, or I want to put in the license and all of that. I am not doing that again. I can use it to say add another user using this template that belongs to the sales and marketing. So let's go and see the Yemi that we've created right now and see the property of Yemi. Now, when we look at Yemi, you can see the property of, let's look at his license and apps first. You can see that the license is what? It still maintained the 9, which is the initial one that was saved with what? With the templates. It still maintains that, yes, I assigned him M365E5, but then what are the applications that I'm saying he should use? It still maintaining just to be the few 9 applications that I selected there. And then let's look at the information of this person. We see that its information is this, is the same phone number, which I can edit. I can manage the information here and say, no, your own title, you are not, you are executive marketing manager, So there is few information I'm putting here. Or department, I don't want, you still belongs to the same 10th floor. Maybe your phone number, yours is 8 instead of 7. Yes, the street is, and all of that. And then I save. You get it? So it's not allowing me to simplify my user creation. I'm not putting too much of information. So you can see that. Now, those are the first 2 ways to create users. Let's look at the other 2 ways to create users. Now, I dropped something for us in the chat window. And then if you can see in your chat window, part of what I dropped is that I dropped this create bulk user with Office 365 using GUI, and then we will see if time permits us, we can create users using the PowerShell. Now let's go on. I go back to my active user. I go back to my active users, which so I want to still create a user. So I have the options of saying what? Add multiple user. All of these things that I'm doing it via what? The graphical user interface, which is referred to as GUI. The short form is GUI. Now, you see what I've been doing since I've been creating users one after the other. I can decide to create them in bulk. That is, I can add what? Multiple users. So I can decide to start creating multiple user. Maybe I say this one is user one, and then user one, demo one, and then I give the name to be user one demo one, you get, and then I come again, I put user two demo two. I'm just giving you example. You will know what user two demo two. I can go on like that, and then just add all the users that I want to add. My display name, your display name will always have a space. So you can prepare your user in an Excel sheet, and all you just need is prepare them with a display name, a username, and then you just continue to add them. And then this one will be words, will be if you have them in an Excel sheet, you can always copy and paste, which makes it very easy. Okay. Now, one of the cool things you need to bear in mind is that you can enter up to 249 users. So all you just need to continue to do is to add rows. You see that another row, or I decide to do what? Remove the row. You get. You always have that option. And then once I click, and there is a short video for you to actually. So once I click next, you can see that the next thing is going to ask me to do is that select the location for this user, which is still in Nigeria, and then assign license to them. So I said all of these users I'm creating right now, I just want to give them what? Power Automate license. That's all I want to give them. And then I click on next, and then add the users. And let's see what's going to happen with all of the users we're going to add right now. You can email what it's telling me to email the sign-in information, which is going to be their username and password to me, so that I can share with them, or I can share it with their manager and all of that. And this is what it is. So it tells me this is the user, and then close. So I can come in here and see those users. Let's look for the user one again and see whether we can see all of them. You can see that all of the users in how many minutes I've created bulk user. However, another way I can have these users is that I would say to myself that I have what? I have all of them uploaded in CSV. The important thing I want you to bear at the back of your mind, that's why I put the CSV. There are two CSV in the chat window. So if you are following along with what I'm doing, you can download the CSV that says create user with words. Let me see the name again. I think create bulk user with Office 365. Yeah. Now, even when you're doing a CSV, it's very important that you take into consideration this information here, so that you do not just experience some unnecessary errors. One, for each CSV, you can only upload towards 249 users per CSV file. Each user must have a unique username, email address. Email address cannot use accent marks like, when you have these are accent marks on top of a word you get. The email address cannot begin or end with a period. That is, I want to write my email address, I will now say dot Olajumoke Toriola at wintersntd.allmicrosoft.com, or I put Olajumoke at wintersltd.allmicrosoft.com, then I put a period, full stop at the back. You can have it. Then the part of the email address before the @ sign must have 64 character or less. It cannot be more than 64. So if you are the type that probably maybe your name, I've seen someone's name that used the whole of 26 alphabets. So, but if you are such kind of person that maybe a combination of your username and your first name and last name, I've never seen that it will happen, that it can be more than 64 characters. But then I've seen that someone have used up the 26 characters of alphabet. So you can, I mean, letters of alphabet. So you can also take into consideration. Then your username, email address may only use letters, numbers, and the following characters. So these are the supported characters you should bear at the back of your mind. Then alternate email address may only use letters also and any of these special character also. So you should bear it. Then you must save. This is the most important. This particular one can actually cost you a lot of going back and forth. Now, what Microsoft has done for us is that they gave us the option of you can download a blank CSV with the required headers, which are, or you download a CSV that include an example. So I'm going to open, this is a CSV with, let me see the one that, okay, this is a CSV with the required headers. So you can see, and then it tells you the field that is important. The required column is actually very important. The username is very important. The first name, if you like, put. If you don't want to put your last name, but which is also very important that you put.
I'm lost. I can't see the CSV stuff you have now.
Where are you? That's good. That please. Who is the person talking? Oh, Shegun.
It's only Shegun there.
Oh, you may not be able to see it. You join as a guest. Okay, you know what I'll do? You join as a guest. You are not added to our. Let me see. I'll do some. You join from Discord, right?
Yes.
Yes, you join from Discord. Okay, you know what I'll do? I'll upload those files to Discord and you go and pick it from there. So because you joined as Discord, you will not be able to see it. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. M365 again. So you should be able to see the files, download them, and then be able to. Okay. All right. I think that would be all I think I've helped you enough. So let's go back. So remember also to leave your details, your username, and I mean your email address, so we can invite you, or you stay behind when the class, so that I can invite you, so that you can be able to see the Teams channel.
Okay.
All right then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. So to all of us that have started, that are still with me, you can see this is an example of the ones with the required header. You have the display name, which I said is required, the username, which is required, the first name, and all of that. But what you need to pay attention to here is this. One of the requirements is that you must have like 16 columns. And then let's look at the number of columns we have. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If you have anything less than that, it will be throwing error for you. So when you're troubleshooting that, oh, you're trying to use CSV, because for some of us, we may say, oh, I don't need alternate email address. No, but it's fine. You can have it as a column heading. You may not necessarily put anything there. The most important thing is that you must have about 16 columns labeled. So for me, I am going to bring my create users now out. So I have my users. You can see I have my display name, I have my username, I have my first name, I have my last name, I have my job title that I've put for every one of them, I have the department, I have the office number. The office number, let me see, let me put something for office number. Let me say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just allow it to change the last values. Oh, no, I want you to change it. Okay. May not change the last value. Let me just leave it. Mobile number. I can decide. I mean, I don't want to waste time. So, but the most important information I've put Lagos, I've put country, but what is important is that I have 16 columns, so I can save this. So all I need to come back to do is that I come back to my words. I've said that I don't want to use this. I would like to upload the CSV. So imagine that you have like 200 users. Even when Microsoft gives you the opportunity for you to add multiple users, will you be adding them one after the other like this? You can imagine how cumbersome that would be, right? So why don't I create a CSV and then add, even if I have like 500 users, somebody will ask me the question, what if I have like 500 users? Then you create how many? 2 sets of CSV or 3 sets of CSV, knowing fully well that your CSV, it can only take what, 249. This should have even been a question I ask you at the end of, should have been part of your assessment. I don't know why I have to give that away. Okay, no problem. I'll think of something else. Then you can actually download a CSV files that includes an example user info. So I've downloaded, this is another example one. Let me see the one, a sample. I think I have a multiple. You can see, oh, no. This is the one from, let me see, a sample one. Okay, so you can see this is a sample one and it has all of the information, so you can use this to also guide you if you do not know. So I have my CSV, and that CSV is create bulk office users via Word GUI. I know the reason why I labeled it GUI, so that you can know the difference by the time we want to do the ones with PowerShell. Now, all I need to do is that I'm going to browse to where my file is and then do this. And then it's going to validate it. It will throw error if every of these conditions that he pointed out for me here, I miss any. If I get all of the username right, but if I save this CSV file with what, with just 16, with less than 16 columns, it's going to throw error. Another thing I want you to pay attention to is that it is not an Excel file. You can actually start by using an Excel file, you get? And then when you use the Excel file, but by the time you want to save, you save as what? You save, let's say I want to save to my downloads, as I'm giving an example. You can see it's an Excel file, but you need to drop the file and save as what? As a comma delimited CSV file. So you need to save. So it's not an Excel file. It will not take an Excel file. Now it looks, but the type of Excel file I'm using is a CSV. So you really need to pay attention to it. Some people will tell me that, oh, they did everything, it's fine, and yet they are getting errors. So the reason could be that you save it as what? An Excel file. So you have to come and save, even if you use an Excel file to prepare it, you have to come back here and save it as what? As a CSV. So let's go back. So it has already verified, and then it means that I can move on. If it does not verify, it's going to show error here. And then I click on next, then it's going to tell me what kind of license do you want to give to these people that you have just selected, that you've created. So I'll select and say, I want to give them, I don't want to make use of my license. So I'll say, I'll give them maybe Dynamics 365 P1 license. Maybe that's all I want to give all of these users. And I click on next. Yeah. Let's go back. I think I see something there. And then I click on next, and that's about all. And I can do what? Add my users. So let's see what's going to happen. Then I can also send the notification. It tells me that these are all the users. You can see in this particular one, I decided to say their username will be what? I did not put that. I said it is their first name and their last, and 2 letters of their last name joined together. And then I can click for close. This is how my users are going to appear, right? And then if I click on this asterisk is actually the password. So I can click close. So let's look at, you can see one of them. This is the user, and then is what is Dynamics. This is the user, and it's Dynamics 365 P1 trial. So you can see the way that we have created users. that's the way for you to create multiple users you get. Now, the option for you, apart from that, the things you can actually do, you have created your users, but you want to edit or manage them or change informations about them. All you need to do is click on this user. And then when you click on the user, you can actually reset the user password. You can actually block the user from signing in. This becomes useful for you. Let's assume that that user complained that his account has been compromised and it notifies you. You can actually, as the administrator now says, oh, you block what? You block the signing for the user. Or you can actually sign out the user from all sessions, wherever they are, whether it is on their PC, whether it is on their laptop, whether it's on their mobile device. You sign out the user from all sessions and quickly block signing for that user. This is especially very, very, very useful when the user has been compromised. Then again, you can delete a user. Let's assume that the user is no longer in your organization, you want to delete it. But wait, this is very, very important. When you delete a user, it will be kept in deleted items for 30 days by default. And if by 30 days it expires, you do not restore that user, and that user has maybe emails or information that you need to leverage on, everything will go with it. So it's always advisable that if you have a user, instead of deleting a user, you can actually convert them to what is referred to. I come to Exchange Online right now. You can see some of them that have. This is the Exchange Admin Center. You can see from it. So this user right now has a user mailbox because I did what? I gave it Exchange Online. Let me see. Titilayo Adams has a user mailbox because I gave it what? Exchange Online. Now, instead of me to delete Titi, that if I delete Titi from here right now, let's say this is Titi. I want to search for Titi. I delete Titi Adams here. And then Titi Adams has a mailbox. The right thing for me to do is for me to come to Titi Adams and do what? And convert her to what is referred to as what? A shared mailbox. Do you get? If I convert Titilayo to a shared mailbox, Titilayo's mail can still be kept and can be assigned with anybody that has license. But if I delete Titilayo, after 30 days, I will not have access to our mails again, except there is a form of retention or legal litigation that is put on that mailbox, or a retention policies are put in place. Some things, a lot of some organization even misses. So if I click on Titi now, you can see I have the option for me to convert to a shared mailbox. A shared mailbox do not require any M365 license. It do not require any Exchange Online license. It means you can operate with a shared mailbox without any license, but the people that need to access that shared mailbox must have a valid Exchange Online license. We will talk on that when we come to Exchange Online. I'm just trying to digress because I made mention of what delete the user. So when you delete a user, you need to be very careful, because when you delete the user and it past 30 days, any information for that user is not something you can restore back again. Okay, so let's move on again. Is there a question? All right. Okay, so let's go on with Abimbola that I was talking about. What are the other things I can do? I can manage Abimbola's username. Now, if you have your own custom domain, a custom domain means you see that this Winters Ltd.onmicrosoft is actually a name that was given by when I set up. It is why it is on Microsoft is what it is, the domain name or domain suffix that was generated because I registered on Microsoft when I set up the M365 tenant. So for anybody that set up an M365 tenant, if you put your company's name or whatever name you will give you an on Microsoft. But let's assume my company has a name, and probably maybe the name. In my own case, I have a custom name that is olajimoketoriola.com. I can decide to change the person's login name after I have added. Maybe in the future classes, if we look at it, I will show you how to have a custom domain name. That is the domain name that is for your company, so you can add it. But right now, you can decide to change it, but I'm not changing it. I'll just put what wintersltd.com. I will also advise you to register a domain name. So a custom domain name. You can register a custom domain name for your practice. It is actually very important. And then it may not cost anything more than maybe less than 3,000. It's actually an investment for yourself so that you can use it to practice. So I will advise you a year, it may not be letting less than 3,000, or you can buy from cheap domain and all of that just for you, or even GoDaddy for practice. Solomon, maybe you can assist me if you know of any place. Solomon, stay on the call. Okay, Solomon has another session, which I'm also have. I'm running towards that session. So you can actually buy and then use it to register. I can show you how to do that later on. So like I said, you can change the username. Then you can see the last sign-in attempt of the user in the last 30 days. If you view the last 30 days, it can bring you all the sign-in activity of this user. How you want to manage it, that, oh, you can actually generate you can view a full report in your Azure Active Directory. So if you look at in my Azure Active Directory, if I select, we're selecting Titilayo, right? Or is it Titilayo or Abimbola? Okay, let's see. If I select Abimbola, I can see from Abimbola, I can get a full view of all his signing activities. And the reason why I can get a full view is because remember what your Azure Active Directory is. Your Azure Active Directory keeps all of the information about the user. And so you can see the sign-in logs for the user. You can see everything about the user signing, how long. So let me select a user that has been signing in. Let me use myself because let me use myself because these are just newly created users. So let's see what Jumoke will be like. So let's see. Now, if I look at the sign-in logs for myself, you will see it will generate a report of all my signing activities and the location I'm signing in from, everything, the IP address I'm signing in for. This is actually very, very useful when you want to do an audit. It will even tell you the application with which I am signing in for. So if you are in an environment that requires this kind of information, this is where it is very useful for you to come into the Azure Active Directory to see the report. But on the Office 365, I will not see that information. Okay, one can say, oh, because Amibola is just new. Let's look at Olajumoke again here. Let's look at it for myself. That's Olajumoke that has been on the environment. Let's see whether it can get the information that I need. The information that I need will only be for the last 30 days. But with Azure Active Directory, I can get more than the last 30 days. Will show me more information. Maybe I can even drill down to the last what they call it, 30 and 4 months. I can drill down to it. So this is what, and you can see it's not giving you enough information. It's not giving you from which location or from which devices. So how do you manage the users is what I'm trying to show you. So let's get back to the Abimbola again. Now, this tells us then if you want the user to provide an alternate email address, probably maybe they are like their Yahoo or Gmail, you can actually add the address here. You get probably maybe if the user forgets their password and they get locked out, so they can say, oh, send me a reset information, a password reset information to my alternate email address, so you can have it here. Oh, sorry. Then if the user, you feel that you want to add the user to have administrative role, you can actually add the manager of the user. You get? So this is actually very good in an environment that is very structured. So you can actually, so let me say the manager for Abimbola now is Olajumoke. You can see that you don't need, once you start typing, we bring everything. Or let me say the manager is Solomon in this case. It will bring Solomon out and I can say the manager is Solomon. So anytime I'm doing something, it will be easier for me um, to notify if I need an approval process from Solomon. Solomon can be the one to approve Abimbola. Then I can manage groups. I want to add Abimbola to a group. She's not assigned to any group. I can assign her a group membership and I can look for all of the groups. These are all the groups that I have in my organization. So I want to add that to, let's say I want to add that to the sales department so that because she's a sales and marketing person, anytime that any mail is sent to sales department, she just receive it as part of the group also. So this is sending out to a sales department and then I add her. So she will be a member of the sales. I can decide to add her to multiple groups. So nothing says that a user is restricted to be just in one group. You can decide to see. So why we will come back to group, but we will not. I will just touch briefly on group maybe next week because of time. I'm going to stop anytime from now. So and then you can also do what? Change the phone number, and then you can also enable, this is the most important part I want to talk about, enable multi-factor authentication for this user. And you know the reason why? I can decide to come and do it from here, or I just do this with multi-factor authentication. If I select this, it will still take me through the same process. I want to do what? I come to Abimbola. This is Abimbola. You can see the multi-factor authentication process is what is disabled. I can come in here and then do what? Enable it. And then say what? Enable for what? Multi-factor authentication. And you know the reason why? So what is a multi-factor authentication? Is another level of what? Authentication to verify that you are who you say you are. And what does it use? You use what you have, who you are, and then, oh, there are three things. What you have, who you are, and then, oh, what's the third one? It's coming and going. Maybe if I remember, I'll let you know. I'm so sorry. So you can enable this, and once you enable this, it means that it's going to give you the information that is going to enable what? For multi-factor authentication. And the good thing about it, so how does multi-factor authentication work? So think about it on when you're doing a banking transaction, it will ask you to do what? Give, maybe even if you put in your username and password, you ask you for what? Your token. It can be a soft token or your hard token. That is another level of what? Authentication. So to say that you are not compromised. And the beauty about this, why this is done most times, is to say probably maybe you're signing up from a high risk environment. So I give an example. When we were checking my logs, the system itself monitors with the help of the artificial intelligence and we couple with machine learning and all of that. It takes inventory of our signing. It can see from my Azure Active Directory that most times I sign in what? That every time I sign in, maybe my sign-in information, I sign in today from Lagos or from Abuja, and then I sign in, let's say I sign in from Lagos I sign in from Lagos in 1 minute, and in another hour's time, he's seeing a sign in for me in UK. Is that possible? That is actually going to show that there is a compromise with my account because there's no way, even if I'm traveling by air, that I can get to London in 1 hour. So with multi-factor authentication, it's going to throw an error and say, if it is configured properly, that is where you can make use of what is referred to as conditional access to say that, give me another level of what? Authentication about yourself. So you will use things to say, provide a PIN, or provide something that you alone know, or provide something that you are, for me to verify that you are who you say you are. So with that, I've come to the end of our class for this week because I have another class that I need to attend to by 4. And then I hope what I've discussed so far and then we've gone through has been very useful. Next week, we are going to be seeing how we will create users from PowerShell. Yes, you heard me right, from PowerShell. Now you have done it through the GUI, but next week we are going to see how we're going to be running it using command line. And we will see the difference. We'll compare the difference with when we created when we created with the GUI as against we creating it with the command line. What is going to be the effect? It's going to be the same result, but we can see the speed of how we create our users. And then we can learn the little tips of how we create users using PowerShell. So thank you all for the time. And I apologize again that I have to change the time severally for you guys. But tell me if you have any question, I'm willing to answer. However, before I go, I think I have an assessment for you again. So I'm going to paste the assessment link. Please ensure you complete the assessment before the end of the week. I know some people, I was told that some people said they couldn't access my class, and I was wondering class. So they couldn't access the link. So on a second thought, I think I got the answer. I think the real answer is that they couldn't access the assessment. So please watch out. I'm going to send the assessment link to our chat window. I will also share it on Discord before the end of the week. Please ensure that you do your assessment as usual. And remember that assessment with your attendance is what is going to help us form the basis for giving you an exam voucher for your exam. So if you have any question at this point, I'm willing to take. Thank you for listening. I hope I've not been very boring and it has not been too technical for you guys, but you've been able to find value. Any question from anywhere?
Hello.
Yes.
My question really is not on today class, but I just want to know. I change on laptop, you understand? So
Okay.
I see Microsoft E5 this thing that I set up. Am I going to reset it up again
Not
on the
at all.
new
Not at
laptop,
all.
or I can still go the previous one I did on the, I don't know, I've been battling
Yes.
with it.
No. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna mute you so I can answer you because there's a lot of interference coming from your end. Okay. So you're completely right. Your Office 365 profile is not tied to any laptop. That's why you can access it from anywhere. And that's the beauty of why it is called a SaaS application. On the go, anywhere, on any devices of your choice, you can access it. So if your laptop that you set it up when you were setting it up crashed, you don't have a problem. All you need is to pick up another laptop, your entry. So just go portal to office, portal.office.com and put in the username and then your password that you use for the other one, and then you set it up. And that's all. Except the only clause here is that except you are forgotten your details and you didn't save it out, you don't know it, then you will have to set up. If you are the only global admin administrator in that tenant. But if you know those details, just go to portal.office.com, input your username and password, and you are good to go. I hope that helps. Abosede.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. Okay, great. All right. Yes, I have Shegun. Yes, Shegun, your question.
Yeah, I'm like, hello.
Yes, go ahead.
For some of us that are just joining the program afresh, and we don't know where to start, though it's very impactful, which I must acknowledge and appreciate you for that. So I don't know, how do you want us to meet up with the previous class that has missed and then the follow on today?
Okay.
You know
All right.
what
It's not a yes, it's not a problem. So what we need to do is to just add you to we need to add you to the channel. Apart from that, if you I want to be sure, Shegun, Did I meet you in AGI? Are you the same person?
Sure.
Okay, great. So there is a YouTube channel that I shared with you, a link. If you go to that YouTube, I'll share it real fast now. You will see, because we uploaded all our teachings from the previous class to YouTube. So you can get it. Hold on, let me see. I'm coming. Then the other option, then that's one. But more importantly, for you to be able to see all the files that we share, because those are not uploaded to YouTube, you need to be invited to the channel. And the only way I can invite you to the channel is that you're going to share with me your probably your Gmail account, and then you're going to follow the prompts for your Gmail when we invite you, and you can come into the channel. So I'm going to share with you. I'm going to show my screen again. Ayotunde, 1 minute, please. I see your hands up. So this is the YouTube channel for Textile. If you can see my screen again.
Okay. I'm trying to.
Yes.
I can see
Okay.
your screen now.
Okay. So you
I'm
can
still
see that
struggling
this is
because I wanted to go to mail before.
okay. So this is the Textile. This is Textile's YouTube. So all the classes that we have taught for this quarter, if I go into
I think
Textile,
you share me this YouTube channel.
yes, this is the YouTube channel.
You send the YouTube channel to my WhatsApp line.
Yes, your WhatsApp. So this is this. So if you come to the Textile,
Network.
okay. So if you, okay, sorry. So if you come to Textile, you will look when you look at the playlist, you will see cohort 4. For cohort 4, you will see M365. So when you click on M365, you can actually see what our day 1 first, our day 2. You will see all. Yes. So you see all of our classes, day 1, day 2, day 3. So this is the 4th class today that we are doing. So we've uploaded all of those classes. The only thing that you will need, if you watch through this class, I bet you can get up to speed on time. So just take your time to go through it.
Okay.
Right? Then the other thing I would do is that you can share your Gmail, your personal accounts, whether Gmail with me on WhatsApp. I will add you to the Teams channel, which is this. This is our Teams channel. When you are invited, you will see Tech Deep Dive Cohort 4. Then you will go to the Modern Workplace. So these are the places we share all of our information, files that we use for learning, our Microsoft learning. You will see all the files, even recording, like this bulk Office 365 user that I did today. This is where it will be. For you to set up your lab environment for day 1, this is where we put it. So you can see this guide for you to set up your lab for day 1. The Microsoft Learn content that you can use for the class that is relevant to everything that we're saying. MX 900, this is it. So you can go through all of this class. You can start with it. Everything that we've discussed, this is what we're using to guide ourselves. Do you get? So you can run it and then go through it. So I hope that helps. All right then. I believe that helps. Yes, Ayotunde. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, I'm already late for my class. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yes, good afternoon.
Okay, I want to have.
Oh, the Runel Neither brush.
Can we use it to practice as well?
Which one?
The E5 developers account that we created.
Yes, that's what I'm using for. That's what I'm using for the lab. That's what you're going to use.
Okay, because you were, when Solomon was still around, we were talking about us, getting, we have to pay for one that was 3,000 something.
No. When Solomon was around, what Solomon was trying to say is that if you want to buy another license, but it will be applicable for you in your environment, in a production environment, in your company. But for this class, every one of us are using yes. The only thing is that what you need to bear in mind is that if when we're creating it, I told some of us to do what? It was people that asked me question when we're creating the M365 group. one of the things I said we should do is that we should say it should not create users for us. But if it creates users for you and you want to practice, all you need to do, like for me now, you can see at the advanced is like the user I created for me. So all I needed to do was come here and then uncheck the license for all of those users, remove the license so that you can have the license available for you to practice. Do you get? So if I uncheck the license, you see that this license has become 11. If I assign it, the license reduce. So if you want to play around to use because of license, you can uncheck the license from the previous users that came on board with the tenant you get. But and then you can use that to practice, right? Okay, that's great. All right, great guys. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully. And if I cannot, I don't wish to record any sessions down for you because, like I said, I'm in transit. But if I cannot, I will ask Solomon to help me take the next class. But hopefully, I will make room, make time to be with you guys. So with this, I want to say thank you for the time, and then take care. Never stop learning. It is always the road to success is not always easy, but with persistence and giving it time,